Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. James Graham joined by Brandon Smith as always. Quite a bit to get through, Cheese. It's some breaking news that has hit this morning. Ben Hunt officially released by the Dragons with no apparent home so far. But before we get into that, how are we going, Cheese? How's the past week been?
Yes, I'm going good. Thank you, Gemma. It's been a good week. I had training today, actually.
What did you do?
I'm on the bike today.
Oh, how fun.
I'm on the Watt bike. They told me to go slow for 10 minutes. It's like, once you're on there, you're like, fuck, I can't get slow. It's boring. So I ended up getting a bit of a blowout. So that was good. And other than that, not a lot's going on. So my missus wants to go on a wellness retreat. No phone, yoga, meditation, all that stuff I love. In Bali or Thailand, so I'm just trying to organise all that now. So yeah.
Funnily enough, I'm doing a 1 day wellness retreat on Sunday.
1 day.
1 day one, yeah.
Where
at? In the Gold Coast. Organised by
1
Ryan.
day. What's 1 day gonna do? But
well, it's like a I mean, it's just a little taster. Organised by Ryan Girdler.
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 Oh, Gidley.
No, you know who Ryan Girdler is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, him. He does a heap of these camps. He's got a 1 day option because I couldn't make the 3 day one. So
is it a wellness camp or a fitness camp?
Wellness camp. Yeah, you do I believe cold plunge, all these weird different things. Smoking ceremony. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, it should be good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it makes a change from the usual stuff. What about on Saturday night? I was out at a brewery, and this guy's like, "Hey," I'm like, "It was I did that scene in Plum. It was
what?
Have you seen the acting thing that I did with for this show? The fella who was working as the chef in this brewery, he was the actor, the doctor who was having a big argument with. It was like, oh man, oh good, it was bizarre. And
I haven't seen this Plum.
Yeah. Oh mate, you'll have to watch it. I made my wrestling debut, my acting debut. So where have you been, Cheese? Where have you been? But no, I'm looking forward to this wellness retreat. Should be good. But we'll get into the news. Dragons mutually terminate Ben Hunt's contract effective immediately. What's your first reaction?
It's a bit of a weird one. I don't know who. I guess there's no winner and loser, but I don't know who's on the upper hand here. I mean, Dragons get, they free up a lot of money to go explore the open market, but who's in the open market that's a half at the moment? And I don't think that's enough money to get a real blue chip, I should say, half. And then for Benny Hunt, that's a lot of money to give up for a year to, I guess, don't know his future going forward. He must have something in the woodworks. There has to be something going on there, because you're not just asking or leaving around 950K on the table to go explore your options.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Cheese. I don't believe for one moment that Ben Hunt isn't in advanced negotiations with at least one club. And we can look at some of where some potential landing spots will be for Ben. Focus on the Dragons to begin with, though. So the Dragons, the timing of it seems to me they must have someone lined up to come in, not a halfback. I think we'll see Kyle Flanagan move to 7, and I think they're going to make early moves to get Gutherson and the Fox in to start preseason training soon. And I say that because with Ben Hunt, whoever his new club is, they're not going to see him until January. So they're going to, whoever his new club is, they'd pay him for 2 months and then they get him. So really, if you're that other club, you go, well, Ben, just stay at the Dragons and we'll bring you in January because you're not actually coming to us until January. So why would we pay you? So it sort of makes me think the Dragons must be in a situation where they're going, no, we want to bring some players in now. Ben, if you're going to move, you move now. It's either now or never. Because it doesn't make sense for a new club to pick him up early. But the only way that would happen if the Dragons were playing hardball. This back and forth between Ben and the club has been going on for such a long time now. I said last year that I don't think the Dragons should release Ben Hunt unless the club win. And this time, 12 months, 18 months ago, I believe and I feel they weren't in a position to win. But now I feel that maybe with some potential signings, they are in a position to win. I look at Josh Adokar. We don't know what's going to happen to him in terms of his meeting with the Bulldogs, which I believe is tomorrow, 31st of October. And then Clint Gutherson, who... But sorry, just on the Fox, I think reading between the lines, I don't think the Bulldogs would stand in his way if he was allowed to if he got a new club with an extension. He's obviously only contracted for one more season. And then with Clint Gutherson, I just can't see him playing that 14 role. He's too competitive. He just doesn't look to me like the type of individual that will sit back and go, yeah, I'll come off the bench and play wherever you want for me, coach. Like, yeah, we see those selfless players, but I just don't think Gutherson fits that bill. I think he can offer more to a football club than that. So I believe that those two will land at the Dragons with Ben Hunt moving on, freeing up that cap space, and also Flanner would want them in before Christmas, which they would be able to do because their rest, they began before the playoffs. So they didn't play playoff football. So they would be welcome back to the Dragons before Christmas so they can get some time to familiarise themselves with the club and the players and whatnot. So I think that's where the Dragons are going. They'll move Kyle from 5'8" to 7 and maybe Gutherson to 6.
That's an interesting prospect. And then
Sloan at fullback.
Yeah, that's an interesting prospect. Geez, you've thought about that because that's quite the little love triangle you've got there. But where does that leave Hunt?
We'll get to Hunt, but some of the things that the Dragons, Coach Flanagan has come out and said no one's bigger than the club, and I think the way things have been played out in the media is quite unfortunate, really, because I don't think anyone would want that, but it's happened. It's sort of become untenable. For me, the worry about the Dragons is where do the points and the catalyst for points, as in assists, come from. They've lost Lomax. You go, well, you replace that with Holmes and or Adokar. But with Ben Hunt leaving, obviously Cook comes in, but Little's there as well. You know, can the combination of a Gutherson and Kyle Flanagan create enough opportunities? That is a question for the Dragons coaching staff to get the best out of them and that spine. Can they replicate and bring in what Ben Hunt was doing in terms of the number of tries he was laying on? Yes, his error count was high, but for the Dragons, they've got to rejig their attack now because he was pulling all the strings. He was the puppet master. He was the, directing the, what's that called when you're in a music? Conductor, that's right. But where does Benny...
Composist.
Composer of the orchestra. Where does Ben Hunt land?
I don't know. And that's a tough ask for Gutho to come in and play that 6 role. Like, I don't think he's played there too often. And
that's just a educated guess. Let's put it.
But if there was a fullback that can go to 6, I would say Gutho would be probably around about that sort of player. I mean, he's not a bad defender, and he's got really good ball skills. Like, his ball skills are what makes him a good fullback. He's not the same as all the other fullbacks who are electrically fast and got that X factor, but he does have great ball skills and
he's
great
fit.
He's bloody fit,
and he's competitive.
Yeah, and he's competitive.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Ben Hunt was, really.
So Ben Hunt probably a bit more of an organizer, which you think Kyle Flanagan
Kyle will have to take over that role, and with his dad being the coach, I think he's got to.
Yeah,
he'll have that extra sort of not pull, but he'll have that extra sort of just want to be a leader at the club, and I think he'll have free range, I guess, over the club. It'd be interesting to see. Because I reckon the Lomax loss is a massive one. A lot of the points came from Lomax just catching the ball off a high ball. Exactly, and a lot of the tries come off Ben Hunt's kicking game. But where will Ben Hunt land? Someone said that he wanted to go north.
Well, that was the narrative being pushed this time 12, 18 months ago. It was he wants to return back to Queensland. Now, Queensland's a big place. So, look, and maybe there was something in that, but there's been no compassionate release, which usually happens in these circumstances. So I think there's Sydney options, New South Wales options on the table.
Yeah. Who's the 7 for the Cowboys?
It would be Dearden and Clifford. Plus, if he's going back, quote unquote, home to Queensland, it's not Townsville. Like, that's what I say. Queensland's a big place. It's like saying, I'm going back to move closer to home. And instead
but he's from Rocky. That's pretty close to Townsville.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's like me going, I'm going back home to Liverpool and going to like Berlin. Yeah. It's like, that's only 2 hours on a plane. But, so the Queensland options, I don't think he's going to the Cowboys. I don't think they've got A, the cap space, or B, the want for him.
Broncos, no.
The Broncos,
they've already got their old airs half.
Exactly. So unless he went to the Broncos to play 9.
I don't know. Does he want to?
I don't believe he does. So I'm not going to put a full line through the Broncos. Obviously, they've got the situation with Ezra Mam still unfolding, but it's very difficult to see. I'm going to just put a pencil through the Broncos.
Me too.
The Titans,
they've already got their old ass half.
They've got their old half that pulls all the strings, and they've got plenty of quality young players coming through. So unless they move some people around, it's hard to see.
Oh, I actually spoke, I'm not ready to put a full line through the Titans.
Yeah, me either. So it's...
Because like that, what's his name? Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson sort of saga's been going on for a while, where they've been playing the same position or they've been going for the same spot. They were wanting to play fullback and they started battling for the fullback position. Keanu Kinney's just gone fuck off you too.
Yeah.
Now, AJ doesn't like playing centre. Jaden Campbell's not really a 6. I reckon one of them, they might be freeing up some money and getting rid of one of them. But that's just honestly a complete speculation.
Well, it wouldn't. It's hard to see a team with Keeney, Campbell, Brimson all in.
They're all play the exact same position.
They all want to be fullbacks.
And if you can't play fullback, you play 6. But if you can't both play 6, one of you's got to play centre, and it's an unhappy environment.
Yeah, so not a complete line through the Titans just yet. Then you got the Dolphins, the Dolphins have come out with a statement today where, basically, paraphrasing here, they said they haven't spoken to Ben's management, but they're also interested in quality players. Now, I think Ben could do a good job at the Dolphins. The only issue is, and even just being linked with a guy like Ben Hunt, what are the ramifications for being linked or signing Ben Hunt? Is he a quality player? Yes. Is he going to help that organisation? Undoubtedly. But what does it do for the development of Qatar? It's very difficult to see Qatar at the age of, I believe, 20 now, go, I'm just going to sit back and have someone come in and take over. And what that would do to his confidence, it would have consequences.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right decision. It's the same goes with the Bulldogs, and we'll obviously talk about this soon, but I don't think it's the right play for the club in the state that it's in at the moment. I think Katoa's an unbelievably good player, and he's only 20 years old. He played real well against the Australian side. And you're right. It'll hinder his development as a player, and he's starting to hit those years as a half where you start actually developing a more game controlling style of play. I mean, you can't expect an 18, 19-year-old kid to lead around your pack, but when you start getting 21, 22, 23, when you start learning all those fundamentals of game management, it's hard to see them bringing in, I guess, Ben Hunt unless Ben Hunt's going over to any team, like any team that he signs with, and it's more of a development role, more of a role that he's going to the club. You've got these young halves coming through. We want you to teach them, and that's more so your role than actually being the starting half in our team.
And he's got and Ben Hunt in all likelihood is going to sign at least a 2-year deal. So that puts Katoa back 2 years, where I think these next 2 years that getting more football under his belt is going to pay dividends. When he's 24, 25, he's going to have so much experience. But if you take that away from him now, it's a big decision for Christian Wolff and the power brokers at the Dolphins, because it could be that short-term sugar hit that they're looking for, get that low-hanging fruit. We've got an experienced half, but what are the consequences down the way? The Bulldogs, a similar situation. They could probably look to make a move, and some people said that they're missing that experienced halfback in the finals. That could be the thing to boost them for season 2025. Look, I'd welcome Ben Hunt to the club, but again, the ramifications are Toby Sexton, after battling his way back into the team, sets his back development. Now, Toby was really good towards the back end. He had a couple of games he'd like back at the end. But I thought that we started to see, a lot of potential there.
Well, yeah, I guess for any club that wants to sign Ben Hunt, it's about what do you want? Like, what do you want? Do you want to set yourself up to build something like Penrith have got? Do you want to set yourself up to build success over a number of years, or do you want a taste of a little bit of success? You bring Ben Hunt into a team, he's probably going to, he's definitely going to make your team a bit better. But for how long? You got 2 years. What's it going to do to the players coming through? Is he going to guide them? Is he going to teach the young fellas a bit about his game style, or is he going to go there and just play footy? And I don't really know Ben Hunt as personally, and I don't know what he's like. But for those clubs that are trying to build something, for example, the Bulldogs, they've already started to build something. Do they want to bring someone in like that? That's kind of hindering their chances to develop players that are going to push them and the club forward for a number of years. Whereas like Toby Sexton is that type of player. You think he's only like 23?
Yeah. The flip side of the argument for the Bulldogs is they've got some very good like teenage halves that you could say, well, maybe, and I'm not saying this is the case, but they bring Ben in. They almost let Toby be the backup, which he was to begin this season. Ben Hunt most likely will be unavailable during Origin. They could look to rest him during Origin, something that I think he really suffered from this year, not having that adequate rest time. Obviously, his performances went at the same level post-Origin as the pre-Origin. So you could look at it and go, well, look, we're going to bring Ben in, but Toby, you've got a big job to do. But also Ben's job is then to nurture those young halves that we don't know a lot about just yet, which is something I could potentially see the Dogs doing. Some other potential landed spots, the Newcastle Knights in desperate need of a dominant half, a first choice half, where Coach O'Brien isn't thinking, what's my halfback? Who's my halfback going into round one? It's Ben Hunt, and that's it. Obviously, I'm going to say he's got a relationship with Ponga from Queensland, the Queensland connection. I don't know how much of an important factor that is, but Newcastle, if they've got the cap space, I think they're having that conversation. Finally, Cheese, I think a place where Ben Hunt could do a 12-month deal.
Oh, it's always the Roosters.
Why not?
I don't know.
Walker out until at least May. At least. Obviously, Walker. Townsend is there, but Walker has previously played with another experienced half in Kiri. Could that Ben Hunt be a bit of a saviour to the Roosters and a 12-month deal?
Yeah, I could definitely see them being there, but it's just then I just feel like their signing of Chad Townsend kind of hinders it a little bit. I think why would we have him?
Well, I think Chad Townsend's only come for very minimum, like almost minimum wage. So
mate, we all do.
Yeah.
I can definitely see him being there. It's just it's a hard prospect to have with so many halves coming through. It's the exact same thing. You got Sandon Smith.
There's ramifications, right?
Like there's ramifications. They've already learnt off a lot of experienced players, and man, I'd fucking love to see him in the Roosters colours. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, then is Ben happy with taking on the 12-week halfback role until Sammy Walker comes back?
Well, it would time nicely into Origin and deal with that. So be the halfback for the start of the season. Let Origin come around, do your Origin thing, work Sam back into the team, and then post Origin, those two take over. Obviously, it's harsh on Townsend, it's harsh on Sandon Smith, but this is the harsh reality of first grade rugby league. Yeah, I guess.
I just don't imagine, like, what are you going to say to Ben Hunt? Hey, mate, like, we'd love to have you for 12 weeks until Sammy's back.
No, but they wouldn't sell it like that. They'd say, you're going to be our halfback next year.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if I see him in Roosters colours. I would not be surprised.
No, I don't think anyone
would. Because also, he plays hooker, so he could back up for that as well.
Yeah, they do need a hooker.
They do need a...
They really do. Jeez, honestly, last year's hooker, he was. He was distracted by this podcast. He was doing. It's all he cared about.
Mate,
maybe you could move to Lock.
Maybe I could. Mate, I don't give a fuck. Maybe I could teach Hunty a few things. For the hooker role.
Yeah. I think we just finally on the Roosters, they have used that strategy before in bringing in experienced players. The Morris brothers spring to mind.
Michael Jennings.
Dylan Hupper. So they have done it. So look, this story.
I don't think they're bringing in experienced players that command the pay packet though that Benny Hunt commands.
Well, that's it. Who have you got as the favourite to land them?
I don't know, but if I'm Newcastle, I'm probably moving heaven and earth to get them in my side. To get them in my side.
I'm with you.
Because they've had that many different halfbacks over the last 2 years. One that you can continually rely on. Probably going to have 2 knock-ons, but 3 tries this game. You'll take that.
I think the Dolphins will be the front runners.
There you go.
Just with their statement. It's an interesting one. But again, I'm not...
What's the Bunnies doing? What's their halfback stitch?
Well, they've got Lewis Dodd coming over from England. So that's it.
Never mind, Lewis.
Yeah.
Just a bit like Chad Townsend.
Yeah. No, there's no way he's going to the Bunnies. I think their cap is at the brink. On the salary cap. I'm thinking at this moment in time of recording, I believe he will be at the Dolphins in season 2025. But talking of ramifications of bringing in Ben Hunt, he is a marquee player at the Dragons on close to $1 million. And one of those marquee players is going to hit the market. Now, if you bring Ben in for season 2025, that affects your cap for season 2026 when clubs will be trying and attempting to sign Ryan Papenhuyzen, who looks like he's going to hit the open market. So, according to sources in the know, 1.1 million at the moment at the Melbourne Storm. They have reduced that contract to a reported $750 with about $200,000 worth of third-party agreements. Now, I'm of the opinion that those third-party agreements, maybe minus the tradies deal with the underwear brand that he has, would travel with him. Like, I think he's a marketable individual. He's a marketable person. I think he wouldn't have any issues getting some third-party agreements in outside of Melbourne. And like I said, some of those I think would be able to travel with him. I think Papenhuyzen is one of the most exciting prospects to hit the market. I think Melbourne have probably undervalued him, but we know they have Siva waiting in the wings, so it's great position for the Melbourne Storm and Coach Bellamy and Frank Panisi to be in.
Yeah, I guess I don't think they undervalued him. I think if you look back in the last 3 years, he's played 15 odd games.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that would have been a part of the decision-making process. Like, we can't continue to play this guy 1.1 mil when he's playing 30% of the seasons. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And like, there's no lie. He's small and he's fragile. Like, that's not a lie.
Yeah, you're right. But then if you're Papenhuyzen and and the club have invested a lot in him, you're thinking, well, the fact that
it doesn't help either that they've got Suafa'alongo sitting on the side.
They've got the backup plan.
Yeah, they've got a guy that can do a really good job. But yeah, Ryan Papenhuyzen
not just do a really good job. They can't keep them both.
Yeah,
they just can't. They can't keep them both, and maybe their idea of making a call is, well, let's see what Ryan wants to do.
Yeah,
and we'll look to see if we can get him on this deal, and then we can invest in other areas of the squad. Naturally, they would need to upgrade Farlongo, but Papenhuyzen to hit the open market. Eels, Dragons, Bulldogs, all definitely in.
Yeah, what are the Dragons going to do? But like, they're in the chase, but they're not looking for a fullback.
Well, they've got Sloan there at the moment, but then he was dropped at different points last year, and we know Sloan's got potential. But I think when a guy like Papenhuyzen comes along,
Eels,
you go. Well, he's got that link to Riles, but I think if you're the Dragons and you're Flanagan, maybe that's part of the freeing up. Well, no, because it's only for next year, but just I think they'd look at it and go, well, does Ryan Papenhuyzen improve us? Like, absolutely. And they need a marquee player. At the moment, with Ben Hunt now released, they don't have that genuine marquee individual player.
No, yeah. I agree, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
You don't see him going to the Dragons?
Well, not if they're going to try to go for this other thing that you're tossing
the Gutho
up.
and the Fox.
The Gutho, yeah.
Well, they're talking to them both.
Yeah. But they won't be able to get Papenhuyzen and Fox.
And Gutho.
They can't do that.
No, they could.
You reckon?
I reckon they could. I reckon they could fit them all in. Definitely. In fact...
That's nearly $3 million right there.
I reckon Power would be tipping in for someone Gutho for next year. And then on a reduced deal. I think Papenhuyzen, it would be the spine of, say, Cook, Kyle Flanagan, Gutho, Papenhuyzen. That you can fit those four individuals in. They're not like...
but you got to remember clubs like the Dragons are paying people.
Yeah, but that's nowhere near like what a Storm's spine would be.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about at Storm, there's not players that are getting well over what they deserve.
Yeah, well, naturally you do have to pay to bring Ryan Papenhuyzen out of the Melbourne Storm. You have to go way and above the 750 that they're offering 900 with.
No.
I reckon, like really, Papenhuyzen can probably expect 1.2 to 1.3. I think a season.
Yeah,
Comfortably to leave Melbourne. Now, who's willing to pay that? I think the Dragons would be. He's genuine X factor. He's proven time and time again. Obviously, the question mark on him is
Bulldogs
injury.
don't have that money, do they?
I believe the Bulldogs do have the salary cap space.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, just get maybe he'll come for Teddy.
Huh?
Maybe Tedesco. Tedesco's got 1 year. Has he got next year and the year after, or that's it?
I don't know.
Maybe the Roosters could be in for Ryan Papenhuyzen. Wouldn't that surprise you? Oh. No. Yeah, they're probably a club that hasn't been mentioned, but it wouldn't surprise you to see Papenhuyzen line up for the Roosters. But I think
there's no way he's coming to the Roosters.
Why not?
There's no way.
Why?
There's no way.
How long's Tedesco got left? Tedesco's just got next year.
Oh, no, but you're not signing Paps.
No. But then for season, Ryan Papenhuyzen, again, this is bizarre. He's not available for next year. It's the year after.
Well,
so
what?
Season 2026 is when Ryan Papenhuyzen becomes available.
Same as me.
Same as you. Same as James Tedesco.
Maybe Papenhuyzen, Brandon combo to the Eels. Nah. I'll take as one. He can take the 0.2.
There's a genuine chance he could go to the Roosters. He's the type of player that I think would suit any side. But with James, they've got to get a succession plan for Tedesco. And obviously with Suolihi and Joey Manu moving on, that opens the door for somebody like a Papenhuyzen. The Bulldogs, Connor Tracy has done an amazing job. But I think... And it'd be an interesting thought or interesting insight into what... it'd be great to see what's going on inside Gus Gould's head to say, is Papenhuyzen worth the extra freight versus what Connor Tracy's brought to the football club, who's been amazing in his first season. I think he's only got...
filling the void for wing?
For wing of...
Bulldogs.
They've signed... Marcelo Montoya.
Yeah.
So Carraz one wing, Montoya the other. Cherry and Crichton in the centres. I think it'd be an interesting debate with Gus around whether Papenhuyzen really adds to the team and is that what they need. I don't know is the honest answer. I don't know if... I think for a club like the Dragons... Unfortunately, the sacrifice would be Tyrell Sloan. I think with what Sloan's shown, it's probably not been consistent enough. I'm not saying anything I think anybody at the Dragons would disagree with. I think it would be worth the upgrade to get Papenhuyzen with Dogs, with what Connor Tracy's shown. I just don't know if it's worth that amount of increase in salary to get a slightly... improved position of fullback.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, yeah, but you never know as well. Like he's not going to sign anytime soon, I don't think.
I don't know. What makes you say that? Because I can tell you why I think he will.
I just don't think he will.
Well, most of the top players do. So a guy like Ryan Papenhuyzen...
I don't know. I
think
usually
signs.
If he. No, I just think he's.
Well, he's got. But why wouldn't you?
Because I think it's more of like a Cooper Cronk situation. I think he wouldn't want to upset everyone at the club.
Yeah, but the club have allowed him to go to the open market, and why wouldn't you want your future secured? Because if you don't, you limit your options for one. Because other clubs just go, we need an answer now, or we're going to move on to somebody else. And I think with a guy like Ryan Papenhuyzen, he's not in a position where he's going, I need to play to prove my value to potential suitors. He goes, people go, we know what we're getting with Ryan Papenhuyzen. We don't need to see him come. And the risk is geez, if he goes and plays next year without a contract for 26, if he gets injured again, like his value goes from, what did we say, 1.2?
Yeah.
At least that if he gets injured again, like his value plummets. So why would you risk it?
I don't know. Do you get, I got that feeling in my plums. That's what I don't even know why I said it. I just had a feeling, a hunch.
Nah, there's no way. I reckon Papenhuyzen's getting done before the season kicks off. One way or the other, whether he stays at the Storm.
I think that's my favourite. He's not going anywhere.
You think he'll stay at Melbourne?
Some more third parties might come along.
So then Farlango goes on the open market. We'll see what happens. What have you made of the internationals so far? We'll get on to some of the football that's been played.
I thought the Kangaroos game was pretty good. I was actually pretty proud of the boys. I thought they played all right.
What's your mate doing dropping the ball?
Angus. I think he dropped it with his good hand too. I'm not too sure. Usually, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt because of that finger he's got cut off. Maybe
they should bring in the Crichton rule. I reckon if you're down a digit, all you need to do is like NFL style. If it crosses the plane, it's a try. I reckon Angus should be given some compensation for the fact that he's got a finger missing. But if it's the other hand,
I think it was the other hand. I didn't actually see that.
There's no
but I saw the replay. But all I saw of the replay was the drop, so I didn't know if nothing happened.
Stone cold drop.
Ooh.
Not the best.
You wish that bunker thing would just piss off, eh?
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's where the bunker is worth its weight in gold, and that's why you've got to review every try because you've got. I'm not saying I didn't do anything stupid on the field, but you got some people.
Did you see it live?
Yeah.
Did you see him knock it on live?
It was one of them. It was like, ooh. That's why we need the bunker at every game, and to review every try, or at least every potential try. The Australians, they're into the final. It should be a great game coming up between Tonga and New Zealand. It's gonna be really close. This one, it's hard to pick.
What Tonga versus
Tonga have got have had the week off, and now they face New Zealand.
No, I think New Zealand will get it done.
You reckon?
Yeah. Mate, that New Zealand side that played against Aussie, that was their first game, and that's a completely different outfit to the one that's usually getting around. Like, change your halves. Chance Nickel Clockstep played number 6.
I reckon they need to. Yeah. Stacey needs to brush that. Get Nicarima in there. They've got.
I don't think Nicarima is the right play against Uluwatu.
Well, yeah, you've got a point. Let's have a look actually see if the teams are out.
But I just think the New Zealand side where their strength is through the middle, and it's the same as the Tongan side. It's just going to be a battle of the middle with the halves kind of finishing it on top. And
Chance has been named at 6 again.
Yeah,
mate, you've got to get Nicarima in there. That's the thing.
I just think New Zealand lacked a bit of that Jerome's X factor. But in saying that, I'm proud of the boys. I thought they did pretty good with what they had. A few of the tries, they probably just one missed tackle and someone makes a break.
I thought played really well.
Who?
Nahafu White. Thought he had a really
and
good
Keanu
game.
Keeney.
Yes.
Keanu Keeney was amazing.
It was interesting. I heard Cam Munster talk on Fox after the game, or maybe at half time. It was like Keeney's been great, but they need to get him in some better positions. Keeney's great because he's got so much speed, but his backfield carries, you need Johnson and Nickel Cluckster to get him in some good positions, which probably New Zealand failed to do. So if Stacey Jones can manufacture some of that play, Tonga will be troubled. I thought he was great, but it should be a great game between the Kiwis and
I personally
Tonga.
think
Kiwis. Obviously you would. I'm glad you are saying that.
I've played against Tonga many times.
Where's it at?
In New Zealand, Auckland.
Is it Auckland? I'm trying to see where the
mate, and it's gonna be packed. It's going to be packed to the Warriors brought life back in the rugby league back in New Zealand, and Tonga already loved watching watching the footy. So, mate, it is the craziest thing you'll ever see. It's the
best atmosphere I've ever played in front of the Tongan crowd ever. It beats Wembley, beats Old Trafford.
Mate, it was like like going to a soccer game, especially against Kiwis, and it's fucked up because you just see a sea of red.
Yeah.
The whole of New Zealand is just. Well, the Kiwis aren't watching the game, but Tonga is, that's for sure.
The atmosphere, the actual crowd could be the difference for Tonga. Like when we played them.
Are you going for Tonga? We're going to have some words after this. Body.
I don't know who I'm supporting. Look, I'm supporting England against Samoa, which nearly kicked off before kick-off. So a lot of talk.
I loved what he did, that Pommy bloke. I loved it.
Mikey Lewis. Obviously, again, apologies if the pronunciation of this is incorrect. The Siva that the Samoans perform before kickoff. Now, England stood on the halfway line, which I think they have every right to. Maybe you could argue, don't go to the halfway because maybe you're inviting them to you to like have a see where they go to their territory. But either way, it was. I thought personally, it was great to watch.
Yeah.
A little bit of psychological battle. Who's going to blink first? Intimidation style before the game. The only danger is cheese that it kicks off. Because there's some people there that I know and you just think, like, if they come any closer, they overstep the mark, like, it could kick off.
Yep.
Luckily,
I almost thought that it was, what's his name? Willis? The guy that...
Mikey Lewis.
Mikey Lewis. Willis. I thought that he took it to him. You know what I mean? I thought he come into his space and Mikey come forward with it. And I respect that. I like that.
But again, it could boil.
Like but if that I don't think it will because I watched it at the end of the game. It was a fucking bunch of jerseys pulling.
A what?
At the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And there's 26 blokes pulling each other's jersey, not one fight, one punch zone.
Yeah.
I think we've gone past the days of willing to give up your bloody English jersey for a punch up.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was right on at the end of the day as well. Here's something that when people have said it's disrespectful, look, these two lads were off to the bench. They weren't starting. Like, right, go on. Put your warm up. Put your warm up kit on. They both came off the bench.
That is something I did not think about.
You can afford to do it. Like some people have said, it was disrespectful. Like but look, it was brewing. I think Gordon had said, look, he was the smallest guy, so I was going after him because if he does that to like John Bateman, then it's an all-in brawl. Like Bateman's probably going to put the nut on. But I thought England played really well, but that's something that we can sell our game on. Like for people criticising it, it's like that. If that doesn't get you fired up, if that doesn't get you wanting to tune in,
I was loving it.
Like people go, I want to see that shit. Like that appeals to people where they go, like it's on here.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
Like
you're
you think, holy shit, what's going to happen? Like
there's going to be a punch up.
You can feel the tension, like the physicality, and of course it potentially overspilled a little bit with the pushing and the shoving and the jersey grabbing. But at the end of the day, that's. People are talking about it now. It's made headlines here in Australia, Samoa v England, and that's making headlines. It's getting people excited about international football, which is where we need to be. And obviously, the ratings for the Kangaroos have been fantastic so far. We're looking forward to a great contest between the Kiwis and the Tongans this weekend. News has hit now that Australia is potentially going to switch and go to England as opposed to the English coming here to Australian season at the end of season 2025, which I think would be absolutely incredible for the English game and for the Australian-based players here as well.
Yeah, so they'll do that, and then Samoa will just take their spot in the Pacific Championship?
Well, it depends. I don't know how it's going to work, Cheese, because there's a promotion and relegation game. So if whoever wins between New Zealand and Tonga this weekend will play Australia in the final, right? So the loser then has to face, I believe, Papua New Guinea as it stands. Or I think it's in all likelihood, it will be PNG. I think PNG need to beat the Cook Islands, but they're heavily favoured. So, basically, the loser plays PNG or the Cook Islands. The loser plays PNG or Fiji, but in all likelihood, it will be PNG. And if PNG win, they go into that top tier. So I don't know how that works. I assume they go in and the loser goes down, and then PNG, PNG go up, and then Samoa, they just take the place of Australia.
Yeah.
It is a bit confusing, but
you went a long way to say yes,
yes, I know, yeah. Jesus, talk about going around.
It's a long way to say yes.
In terms of the Ashes, it would be such a boost for the English game, like a potential test at a Wembley or Tottenham Stadium, a couple in the north of England, maybe Hull, Leeds, Manchester, Wigan, St Helens. I don't know. I think the talk of the old school Kangaroos tour, where they play a midweek game or they play a game against a club side, I don't think that can happen. You'd literally need to take about 40 players because you can't have players backing up and playing midweek and then playing a test match. The game has advanced so far, and I know they used to do it.
I don't think they'll be doing that at all.
And I don't think the Players Association would allow it.
Yeah.
In fact, they wouldn't. It would be a health and safety issue. So you'd need at least
unless
40
there's
players.
Like a president, they have their presidents.
Well, that's it. You'd need
like two squads.
Well, you would. You'd literally need two squads, which isn't going to happen. But it would be a boost for English Rugby League, and I think the Australian-based players would be, falling over themselves.
They should be promoting the shit out of this as well.
And that will happen if it gets ticked off, and I believe they're in advanced discussions. Great to see people like Dylan Edwards, Tommy Trbojevich playing, clearly slightly injured and with a bit of a fallout from the season of 2024, but playing with injury, because that's what the Australian jersey should mean. And if they get that Ashes tour ticked, don't be surprised to see many other players lining up injured, hurt, and wanting to get on that tour. It would be the trip of a lifetime. It's such
if anything, Tommy's looking better than fucking ever.
Yeah, mate, he was.
His last couple of games he played for Manly, he was looking like crooked. But
yeah. Anyway, Cheese, we'll get into some questions from our listeners. There's been some good ones this week. Charlie has
really
kindly sent them through, so let's have a look at what they are. First one is to you from Dom_McGrath. Would Cheese ever consider playing rugby union in the future? Have you ever played it? Did you ever play it as a kid?
No.
Would you be interested in playing it?
Yep.
What position would you play?
Piriwipu.
What?
Do you know Piriwipu?
No.
Obviously you fucking know nothing about rugby union then. Piriwipu. The list was no Piriwipu. I think he's a scrum half. It's a fat Māori scrum half.
You playing scrum half?
He's living the life now. He just does YouTube videos of fishing and diving.
Oh, really? You reckon you could? Would you actually be up for giving it a crack?
Yeah, I'd give it a crack. I mean, you gave fucking wrestling and acting a crack. Would you ever say that you would have?
Yeah, but there's a bit of a difference, because you'd have to leave rugby league. I'm a washed-up footballer, Cheese, that's desperate for work.
No, I don't think I'd do it now, but I'd.
When Ben Hunt signs for the Roosters and then starts in number 7, and then when Sammy's back, he comes to 9. You might be fishing, looking for Any suitors, mate? I'll hook you up with the wrestlers and the actors. People, don't worry about it, mate. We'll sort you out. But is it any appeal?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an appeal, but like, mate, my dad would disown me, so
Would he?
I guess no.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Rasta _ 405.
Rasta man.
Rasta man. Is Jimmy going to take up wrestling seriously? The big red machine. No. Look, I think it was a one-off. Some great people there, but
I've got one for you.
It would probably demand too much of my time.
I like
to
this
do it
question.
seriously.
Next year, the year is of the next.
Go on.
You've got one wish, and you've got to choose out of the two. Was it Everton to win the Premier League or Bulldogs to win the Premiership?
Well, you're asking that same question as Dave _.
What
Omar.
the hell? How did Dave Omar? We got the great minds think alike,
Mate, it's not even close. It's the Dogs to win the GF.
I knew he'd say that because he's getting paid to say that.
No, mate. Look. What's a more realistic possibility? Let me tell you. No. It's not even close. It is not even close that I'd choose the Dogs. Look, Everton. It's almost fell out of love stuff. It's just, yeah. And I don't know if you can wish someone to win the league or win the grand final. This is a good one from Gaz Rolo 8. We'll finish up with this one, Cheese. If you could dispense 5 liquids from your fingers, what would they be?
What the fuck?
So if you just had like a superpower, imagine that's like a tap.
Yeah,
So-
like you know the
Yeah, like
the thing they do, like the
yeah.
Coca-Cola, Jim Beam, not Jim Beam, ginger beer,
Yeah. What would you go?
water. I'd start off with water.
Like normally, but you've got a tap for that. You don't. You're gonna waste one on water.
Yeah, water.
Are you joking? me?
Water
You'd
would be my
waste
number one.
You
Mate, if
waste what?
For example, you needed water. Ha.
Are you? Yeah, but I'd just go. I'd have.
You order someone around like Tony.
A soda water, mate. You can't.
Nah,
just
not soda water.
Are you joking?
You can't. I would go water. Yeah. Well, fuck. I'm stuck in the desert. I'm gonna
have a soda water.
Mate, soda water makes your mouth dry.
Soda water's the best.
Right.
Honestly.
Okay, I forgot this was fucking your dispenser. This is my dispenser.
Well, it's open for criticism. Go on. What else?
What's your next one?
Well, I've got soda water as one. That's not like the first choice.
See,
that's in the mixer. It's in the mixer, but it's not my first go-to. I'm just saying.
That's my number one because I'm not going to die from dehydration.
I'd have like a flat white coffee. Flat white coffee.
Maybe. I'm more of a drink it out of the cup guy. You know, drinking coffee out of the finger's not nice.
You drink it out the finger, you moron. You can put it into a cup, you clown.
No, you're dispensing cups.
You can pour it into whatever you want. Just go, like, get your cup and go, flat white, please.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, just... Oh, imagine the milk stains on your fingers. Though it starts to stink.
Geez, this is a hard question. It's honestly a hard question.
You gotta have a beer of sorts in there. We're not going to name any because we're not sponsored by any, but a beer would be nice.
A beer? Yeah, I'd have a beer.
So I'm going to have soda water, flat white, beer, a tea. I'll have English breakfast tea, like primo made. That's it. Yeah, done. There's 4. Probably a Coke Zero or something, maybe.
I'd have a flat white, a water, a Coke Zero.
Please tell me you're going to put a beer in there. Or
I was thinking beer or spirit. I'd probably go both, to be fair.
Yeah, you got room for 2.
Yeah, what spirit? But probably like a nice Belvedere. Nice Grey Goose.
A little, yeah. I'm thinking more. I don't know if it personally. I'm gonna have 5 of my own drinks.
No, I'm not gonna have fucking coffee and tea on my. It's fucking coffee or tea. It's not both. But I do like the question though. Thank you.
Great question, by the way. All right, that just about wraps us up. Jeez,
Right.
enjoy that watt bike, my friend.
Yeah. I might go pinch one of them, eh?
Why?
Have it in the house would be way better.
Mate,
I'll just be on the fucker Tour de France every day.
mate, they're
It's amazing. Like my knee sucked. Like when I first jumped on, I was like, "Oh, that hurts," and then after like 30 seconds, actually, it didn't hurt. It's just I thought it hurt.
You thought it hurt. Well, geez, I'm glad I don't have to do the watt bike ever again. They were a horrible machine, but keep it going with the recovery, mate, and I'll pour you a soda water for you to finish out my index finger.
That is so silly.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.